One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Happy freaking Topless Taco Tuesday to everybody. Much love, honor, respect to everyone. Great to see you guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a big news day, as you guys can probably tell. So, the House considers government shutdown bill after Senate passes, as well as Trump attends ceremony, as well as we're going to be discussing Trump's 50-year mortgage plan, which is, to me, a huge... Totally. 50-year mortgage is insane. I can only imagine the interest that they're going to be trying to make off of that shit. It's just unbelievable. It's kind of like the idea of 6-7 year car loans and shit like that. What a fucking scam. Anyways, we're going to be talking about several dead in explosion in New Delhi, India yesterday. That was a humongous story, and I really saw that on social media. I didn't see it on the mainstream until this morning. They did report it yesterday, so that's going to be our first lineup. Then we're going to be talking about the 50-year mortgages. Trump administration provides new details. I definitely want to know what the fucking details is on that. As to regards to the UPS plane crash, as you guys know, we follow the story of whatever. As long as we report it, we try to follow the story, definitely. So there is a UPS plane crash update regards Louisville. Mayor provides new information. So I think we do want to know that information, as well as multiple hospitalized after shuttle crash in DC airport. That also happened yesterday. We're going to be also talking about a Turning Point event, Turning Point USA, as you guys know exactly what that is. Event yesterday, protests turns violent in Berkeley, California. Terrible. Then we also had breaking news last night around 12 hours ago. The Senate passes funding bill to end shutdown. And now it moves to the House. All right, so now they got the whole shutdown, and then the Senate passes the funding bill. And now it's going to go ahead and move to the House. And then once the House approves of it, signs it, then it goes to Trump's desk for signing. Then we have government shutdown as of this morning, as of 4 hours ago. Senator Thune reacts. That's going to be interesting, as well as Senate approves funding bill, House to vote next. So that just came out 2 hours ago. So we have kind of a timeline here, a chronological timeline. But before we get into it, though, make sure you guys come in and hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free? If you guys are brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because it's free. But here comes the money part. Please consider becoming a member starting only at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to have these lights on as well as, you know, being on these airwaves. So I very much appreciate you guys becoming a member and then staying members. Little side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, all that great shit. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And we also have a Discord server. I'm sure Naomi is throwing that into the live chat for you guys on the horizontal side. We are also live at the same time on YouTube on a vertical stream and a horizontal stream. And I actually really like this format. And then last but not least, for the call to actions, all super chats, super stickers, gifted membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, well, then we have these platforms right here that you guys can donate to, and I will read it out loud like as if it's a super chat, and we'll shout it out. I've got my email up, so if anything comes through, I will absolutely, talk about that and shout it out. All right, good to see everyone in the building, man. We got a lot of you guys in the chat this morning. We got Crystal in the building as well as Naomi. Great to see you guys. We got Sick Bastard as well as Charles Darwin over there from Down Under. Always appreciate my man. Look it up with Pancho, my man. Yes, sir. Saying morning, IWF family. Morning, Mikey, and happy Veterans Day. Yes, happy Veterans Day to all of you legends out there that not only for the people that aren't vets, I think that it's an entire day, but truth, these people are the reason why we're fucking here. So, I mean, it's and not speaking some different language, right? You know? So, God bless those veterans out there. Thank you guys all for your service that you got, if you served. Let's see here. We got Two Wheel Jesus as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you. We got Beezer as well as Gary in the building. Good morning to you guys. We got Hardwire, my man. Good morning. Good morning. Mountain Woman as well. Good morning to you. We got Chatting with Stacks. Yes, sir. Great to see you as well. We got Motobomb saying this works nice for the... Oh, nice. Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. If it works out for, the way the platform is, that's great. And I guess you're watching from your watch. That's awesome. We got K2. Keep on trucking, my man. Good morning. And Motobomb, by the way, wanted to thank you for the raid this morning. I very much appreciate you, and hopefully you get home safe, man. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well. Good morning. Great to see you in the chat. And we're gonna have to get into this here in a minute because we got a lot of you legends up in here. We got Joseph up there in Canada. Always appreciate my man. He is our favorite snow Mexican. Saying, good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy, Breakfast Crew, Bob, and can't forget the haters. Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
Shit. All right. We got Zip Tie in here as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you. And that's right. Thank you to all the veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice. No cap. That's right. That's right. Definitely. We got Rebecca up there in Canada as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you. We got Steve Posey as well. Good morning, Mike Ball and Breakfast Club. A big thank you to all of our veterans. All gave some gave all. That is very, very true. Facts, by the way. All right, we're gonna pretty much get right into this shit, man, because I'm just scrolling down and it's just going forever. We got Tiffany as well. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, as well as Jimmy Mack, my man. Good morning to you. All right, let's go ahead and pretty much get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. We got SST as well. Good morning. Great to see you. Let's go ahead and start our first story here. All right, so several dead in explosion in New Delhi, India. I saw this yesterday on social media. I think I saw this on Instagram. I saw, the destruction of it, and I'm actually hoping that they show video of it in on this clip right here. I hope they actually show it. Let's talk about it.
We are continuing to follow some breaking news out of India. This is a live look here from New Delhi, India, where there was an explosion that has left at least 8 people dead. The very latest is this. A car exploded near the historic Red Fort in New Delhi, India today, killing at least 8 people, injuring several others.
At least 8 and injuring several others.
And also triggering a fire that damaged several vehicles parked nearby. That's according to...
Damn. So it sparked a whole different fire from the explosion, and then other cars got toasted.
New Delhi police, several fire engines rushed to the scene after that blast was reported near one of the gates of the Red Fort metro station. At this hour, the cause of the explosion remains unclear. This is a live look at the aftermath, and you can see the charred remains of this vehicle right here. I also wanted to share this social media post from A&I saying that a call was received regarding an explosion.
What's up, Brody? Good morning to you.
Explosion in a car near gate number 1 of the Red Fort metro station, after which 3 to 4 vehicles also caught fire and sustained damage. That's according to the Delhi Fire Department.
Yo, K2, we're also going to be talking about that regards to UPS, the plane crash. We have an update on that, by the way, from authorities. We've got Lee Lance and 21 likes and 21 watching on that side. Always appreciate you letting us know. We definitely got a W already. Lee also comes in with 13 months saying, glad to be a part of this family. Yes, sir, my man. Thank you so freaking much, man. That goes a long way. That is awesome. Very much appreciate that. Shit. All right, let's see here. We got liquefied poop. What the fuck kind of comment is that, cuh?
For more on this, I do want to bring in ANI Editor-in-Chief Shmita Prakash to share with us the very latest information. And Shmita, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you. What we do know right now is that the blast
Thank you. Come again.
occurred in that white
Oh my God!
colored sedan, which you're showing on your screen. It occurred at 6:55 p.m. on the 10th evening, and there was a blast. It was the kind of a fireball which came out from that car. The car was moving, according to eyewitnesses who saw that, and there were dozens of cars which were parked at the entrance of the medieval Red Fort. And because it was rush hour, there were hundreds of people walking on the sidewalks near where that explosion took place. Now, the Red Fort is closed for visitors on Monday. So providentially, I think the death toll could have been higher had tourists been streaming out of the...
Wow, what's up, Alfred? Saying, good morning. Started watching your Breakfast Club show about 2 weeks ago, and I had to subscribe yesterday. Alfred, man, W to you, man. Thank you for being here. That is fucking awesome. Very much appreciate it. And hopefully you enjoy your, stay here. This is what we do Monday through Friday on our True Seeking Adventure, absolutely. Appreciate it,
if it had
man.
been any other weekday. The impact of the explosion was so huge, eyewitnesses say, that the nearby buildings, the windows were shattered and the buildings were shaking, they said. This is what eyewitnesses said, who rushed out immediately. Fire tenders were on the scene within minutes, despite it being a rush hour at that time. And 13 people were killed and more than 20 have suffered grievous wounds. Grievous injuries. Now, the injuries are not shrapnel wounds or pellet wounds, is what the doctors are telling us, which means that it is not. And also at the site of the blast, there is no major crater. And what the people around are saying is that it looked like a...
I mean, it was a humongous explosion. I wish they had the fucking video of it on here. It's a shame that they don't have the video, the original video that I saw on social media. There was someone like with their phone recording the scene right there. And it was crazy. I couldn't believe the amount of damage. So I just wanted to show you guys that this is happening. We're going to be moving on, though. We got a lot to get through. Nonetheless, 8 people, unfortunately, dead from that situation over there in New Delhi. And that's unfortunate. And many others hurt as well. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this 50-year mortgage. I don't know much about it yet. I've heard the implications of what they want regards to the 50-year mortgage and why it's appealing, I guess, to someone like my age and stuff like that. To me, all I know, the longer you make a fucking loan, the worse it is. Okay? I guess the only thing that I could see some sort of value in getting a 50-year mortgage is if you plan to never own that thing and all you're going to do is rent it out. You know what I mean? Like, that's really how I look at it. And you're super low on cash. That would be the way I think that there's only that benefit for a 50-year mortgage. Otherwise, you're going to get totally creamed by interest. And it's a terrible financial decision. So let's go ahead and get into it right here, right now. Let me go ahead and pull this up for us, and we'll discuss it here.
Plenty of other news that we're getting to. We're monitoring it here, the Senate feed. Beyond that, and we now see stepping up, and we're going to take you back out to Southern California, but quickly we go from West Coast to East Coast. Kevin Hassett now stepping to the microphone at the White House. Let's listen in.
Well, I think that when we studied the matter in the summer, that we thought that deficit reduction might be the best use of those monies. But we've had a big surge in tax revenues. We've seen even a big surplus in the latest monthly Treasury report. And because of the surge in tax revenues, I think that's a position that Congress and the President are reconsidering.
So given those numbers, in total, how much will that rebate cost the administration?
That is hilarious. We got freaking Carney's right over there on the Facebook side saying, always enjoying the news with the Z. Yeah, like the Fox News. I hate that shit. You report on. I very much appreciate that.
And how do you compare that to how much the total tariff revenue annually will be?
That's something that you can do an explainer of on your own. It depends on where people decide to stop. Very often, when there's something like this, then you don't give it to Mark Zuckerberg or something like that. And so it really depends on where the knobs are. And right now, I can't give you guidance on that. But we have estimates of all the different options. Yeah. I'll go this way, and then I'll come this way. I promise.
When the president says that grocery prices are down, what numbers is he basing that?
What's up, Extra Surprise saying number 25 liked. Yes, sir. I very much appreciate that.
Given that's not true, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene has acknowledged that it's not accurate.
Right. Well, I guess the question, inflation is down. It's one of those things that very often when people talk about economics, they slip derivatives, as we say. And so the point is that inflation is way down. It averaged 5% under Joe Biden.
Inflation is way down. Bro, stop the fucking cap.
Stop the cap.
Even the feds are like, yeah, let's go and drop it a point, or drop it a quarter a point, and then drop it a quarter a point again. Meanwhile, they actually should have been raising the interest rate theoretically. I know most people don't like hearing that shit, but there comes a cost, okay, with our money. And that is one of them, man. It's brutal.
Running at about 2.5% right now. And the thing, though, is that people's purchasing power dropped by more than $3,000 because of the inflation of the last 4 years. It's up by about $1,200 this year. And so purchasing power is improving, but we haven't closed the entire gap.
It is not improving. It is not improving. It's just not going down as fast as it was with Biden. That's all. It's not getting better. I actually have a graph showing how our money has been actually on the decline the entire time. I can actually show you this right here. I did a graph regards to the gold and the U.S. dollar purchasing power. And this is the beginning of January, right, of 2025 up to September. And I reset both lines, meaning the gold line and the USD purchasing power line, which is below the yellow and the blue lines were reset at 0, recalibrated for 0% for January. And then you can already see the decline of our purchasing power with the US dollar compared to gold, what is happening right now. So I just want to point that out. Our money is not getting any sort of better. It's still on a decline. Okay, so let's get back to this.
Paid of the higher prices.
Grocery prices are up.
Well, not everything. I mean, egg prices are down. We used to talk a lot about those. In fact, it was your first question here in the White House. Wait, why haven't you covered the lower egg prices?
It's very, very possible, Steve Posey.
Well, household prices, we certainly have covered that energy as well, but grocery prices are up about 1.4% since Trump.
Right, which is a big decline in the rate of inflation of grocery prices.
They're down, and they're up.
Inflation is down, is what it means. Yeah.
So does the president support reversing the firings under the shutdown, and does he support guaranteeing fast pay in the Senate bill?
Right now, the president is grateful for the people, the cooler heads that have opened the government. We're grateful that we're not going to have, hopefully, massive flight disruptions during the Thanksgiving break, which was caused massive economic disruption. And he's looking forward to what the final deal is, but he supports the final deal.
There's been a lot of...
What's up, America Uncensored? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
I guess a question about how much revenue the tariffs are going to bring in and how much would have to be paid back if they fall. What is that number? How much money are these tariffs bringing in from a revenue standpoint?
Well, if you go to Customs and Border Patrol, they update that number almost every month, maybe sometimes quicker than that. And I think the latest number for so far this year is around $200 million, but you can look it up to get the exact number.
But as you guys forecast out...
Yeah, that's just for this year. So if you're going to have...
But as you guys forecast out, what's the expectation for what would come in like for this fiscal year?
Yeah, I guess the OMB has the latest forecast on that, but I just looked at the Customs and Border Patrol numbers and it was about $200 billion.
Just to follow up on that question, does the president support back pay for all federal workers?
Yeah, you know what's funny about that, Naomi? He just said that shit and then dipped. It was really fucking weird.
The president supports the deal because the government opened. He's 100% supportive of that.
Would that include back pay? Would he guarantee back pay for all federal workers?
I think everyone's going to get back pay. It looks like it's part of the deal.
Kevin, how big of a financial hit, have the airlines taken, in your estimation, due to the shutdown?
You know, I haven't seen estimates yet, but it's a serious hit. As an economist, since we've seen about 10% reduction in flights, you might assume that their revenue's down by about that much. Although sometimes it's not as big because if there's fewer flights, they might have higher ticket prices. But I'll get a report out of the impact.
You asked for the 50-year mortgage
funding of Fox. How seriously is that being considered by the administration?
Again, the issue is that under President Biden, mortgage rates went up by about 4 percentage points, and that about doubled the typical monthly mortgage payment. And because of that, we've seen like a real sharp reduction in first-time home buyers, especially.
What's up, Jay? Good morning to you. Great to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday morning so far.
And also a reduction in people's willingness to move. And it's something that we take very seriously as a policy challenge, and extending the length of mortgages could reduce monthly payments by hundreds of dollars, and it's something we're taking very seriously.
Wouldn't that be something that is being studied as an imminent change in Congress?
It would,
or is it more deliberative at this point, I guess, right?
There's a lot of legal analysis, but if it requires legislation, then it wouldn't be imminent.
Wouldn't that be the same as essentially renting, and how would homeowners build equity?
No, it wouldn't, because you would basically...
That's right, sick bastard. Never smoking again, bro. Never smoking again.
Bruh.
Shit.
Build equity, first of all, a little slower because it's 50 years instead of 30 years or 15 years. 15-year fixed is often a great way to build early equity. But don't forget that you get the equity if the price goes up, and on average prices have tended to increase. And so I don't think that the absence of equity is a serious concern about this. And the bottom line is that we need to, the average age of a first-time home buyer has gone up by about 10 years in just a few years, and it's something that we're very serious about addressing. Okay, thank you guys.
All right, this guy was, fairly full of shit. Let's go ahead and move on. We have an update regarding the UPS plane crash that you guys know about, that because we reported on it. We followed the story so far. There was 2 days after the whole ordeal, we actually followed the story. And then, unfortunately, there wasn't much more information out there. So now we do have an update as of yesterday. UPS plane crash, Louisville mayor provides new information. Now, I have not watched this, so I don't know what that new information is. We're going to find out together, and let's see if it's worth
All right, let's take you out to another event that
anything
was
here.
Unfolding while we were in the middle of that car chase, while President Trump was talking, this being involving...
And we're going to be talking about some crazy-ass chase that happened earlier, too, so stick around for that, too. We got a lot of shit going on. We got multiple hospitalized after a shuttle crash at D.C. after this story. Then another story regarding Turning Point USA event. Yesterday, protest turns violent in Berkeley, California. Then we're going to be talking about the Senate passes the funding bill to end the shutdown, and then that moving to the House. We already talked about the vote to clear to be able to do this. Now they voted on a funding bill as well on top of that, and now it'll move to the House, and then it goes to the president's desk. So, the Democrats basically won nothing out of it. And then we're going to be talking about the government shutdown, and Senator Thune reacts, as well as they're going to, I guess they have more information in regards to that funding bill this morning. So that's, as of 2 hours ago. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute, too.
Was going on in Louisville as the mayor there, Greg Greenberg, providing an update on the deadly crash of that cargo MD-11 plane last week, talking about some of the missing persons. Let's listen into this here from earlier on Live Now.
Grade A Auto Parts family. There we had an opportunity to support the individuals who are going through this incredibly difficult time, grieving the loss of their loved ones, relatives, colleagues, friends. But one thing that also was inspiring last night was we heard about incredible acts of heroism. These are not trained first responders that we have heard over the past week about the great work of our firefighters, police officers, other emergency responders, but folks that were at Grade A Auto Parks, employees who jumped into action to save their colleagues.
What's up, Tom? Good morning.
It was incredibly inspiring and uplifting during this time of great pain and tragedy. We will be there to continue to support the entire Grade A family and all of the other victims and survivors for as long as it takes. Through the weekend and today, NTS...
No, Rabbit. So, Rabbit of Chaos, it's not completely over yet. It's like I was explaining how it's got to go to the House, and then it's got to go to Trump, and then he's got to sign it. It still has to be approved for the government to essentially be back open, So, just wanted to clarify that.
B continues its work at the site, continuing the investigation to provide answers so many of us are looking for.
What's up, Crystal
First
Kitten?
responders remain at the scene. Today, they're removing heavy equipment, heavy parts of the plane that have fallen into the crash site so that other first responders can continue the search for any victims that still remain on the scene. It remains a dangerous place to be, and so that's why it is still restricted to first responders. Rachel and I had a chance to visit the exterior of the perimeter of the crash field over the weekend to serve some lunch.
Yeah, Tolga, it could be anywhere from 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. It could be shit like that, you know?
Lunch to the first responders that are working all day until we get the entire site cleaned up. Yesterday, an Oklahoma firefighter suffered a minor knee injury. He has been released and is recovering right now. It's amazing to think that with all these first responders, that was the first injury of a first responder that we had at the scene. And on perfect cue, Chief Little from the Oklahoma Fire Department is joining us as well as his crews remain out there. You'll hear from Tony and Jody in a second here and some other updates. But first, let me turn it over to Congressman McGarvey, who has been an amazing partner working with them.
It's very true, by the way, Eric. Yeah, they were just going after the Republicans because they had legally funded $1.5 trillion. Now that's a whole different subject, but they wanted their $1.5 trillion to, you know, because their funding, they allocate where that shit goes. They wanted the same treatment, and that was their way of thinking they were going to be able to get it because they knew that they couldn't do it legally. So the only other legal path is to shut down on a fucking CR, which is crazy. Anyways, we're going to move on. We got multiple hospitalized after shuttle crash at D.C. airport. It all happened yesterday. Let's go ahead and bring this up. We'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit here. It's quick update.
Getting some breaking news out of the D.C. area. This is footage taken in the past hour. This is not live, but we are hearing from our affiliate, Fox 5 D.C., that the Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority says 8 people were taken to the hospital for evaluation after a mobile lounge, also known as a people mover, struck a dock at Dulles International Airport earlier tonight. According to officials, the incident happened around 4:30 p.m. local time.
Damn.
The MWAA says that a mobile lounge transporting passengers to Concourse D at Dulles struck the dock at an angle as it was pulling up to the building. Passengers were able to get off of the mobile lounge via stairs. They were then immediately evaluated, according to Fox 5, by Airport Authority fire and rescue personnel. They were evaluated for possible.
So how do they say down here, though, several were injured and people mover, that's what they call they call that shuttle people mover crash at Dulles. I don't know what that means.
8 people were then transported with non-life-threatening.
So 8 people were injured.
Injuries. That's the mobile lounge.
Good morning, Prez. Good morning.
Right there.
Great to
and
see
you see a number of ambulances responding to the scene. This is how Fox 5 DC is putting it. They say a mobile lounge transporting the passengers to Concourse D struck the dock, again, at an angle. The initial reports, by the way, did say 17.
Man, I try to take notes from everyone's comments, K2.
People, we need to make that clarification. The newest reporting minimizes that number to 8 people. So no longer 17 people. Most recent reporting says 8 injured as a result of this incident. Jim Lokay, one of Fox 5's evening anchors, says there was indeed a big response at Dulles after it struck that dock at an angle. People being evaluated.
What's up, Carney? Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Not having an impact on flight operations, and yeah, that's what we could tell as well. This did not have anything to do with any aircraft, but as you can see, this large emergency response scene after the incident happened. Again, all of those injuries.
Man, brutal.
Non-life threatening.
But at least no one, was actually, like, we're talking a life-threatening level. That's right. Look it up with the Poncho. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side for me. That's, lets us know we're doing something right. You guys don't have to like all the craziness around the world, but you guys can like the video for me and what I do here. So I very much appreciate your laborious, work on hitting that like button. Very much appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and get into Turning Point USA and this event that happened that turned extremely violent over there in Berkeley, California.
KTVU Fox 2 is above that active protest scene. Let's watch a little bit of their coverage.
USA's event on campus tonight at Zellerbach Hall. That is the group Turning Point USA, founded by the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Some Cal students say they are disappointed with the school for allowing the event to happen. So far, at least 2 people have been detained, and that event starts in about an hour as you take a look at that large group outside of that event. We have seen that crowd continuing to grow as the afternoon has gone on. We want to show you some video from within the last hour. We've highlighted for you as some fights broke out in this crowd. Again, we know 2 people have been detained as emotions are high and tensions are high, as we saw some of those protesters clashing with people waiting in line to get inside. We know the university has added enhanced security measures. They called in a lot of police from Berkeley as well as UC Berkeley, and Turning Point USA has also hired some of their own independent security to be on campus. There are strict policies to actually get inside.
Oh man, you see the cameras? man, look at this shit. Watch the cameramen.
Own independent security to
Wait
be
for
on
it.
campus.
Okay, right here. Look, notice right here, these cameramen are just backing up, just grabbing all these fucking pictures.
There are
Watch.
strict policies
Flash,
to actually
flash,
get inside
flash.
of Zeller
These cameras,
Hall,
cameras,
but we know
cameras.
certainly tensions are high outside of Zeller Hall right now. We want to show you some more video here of some of that law enforcement presence as they took at least.
Everything is such fucking just propaganda. It's just so brutal. We got Warland in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning as well.
One person, they detained at least 2 people so far, but video of one of them being detained and put in the back of a police car. Again, we know Berkeley police are on hand, private security, as well as UC Berkeley's own campus police. This is a situation that we are continuing to monitor tonight, and we will bring you any updates.
Shit. What's up, Bree? Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday as well. Great to see you in the chat.
As these things develop tonight
Happy
ahead
Veterans
of this
Day
event,
to
set
everyone.
to start in the next hour.
And I'm hearing from our producers here that today does mark 2 months since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We don't have our raw helicopter feed of that situation anymore, but this is how Fox News was classifying this. They say a bloody brawl broke out near the Turning Point USA event at Berkeley in California as agitators staged a protest. 2 men spotted fighting as a mob formed around, and then police were called in. Several arrests ending up being made. We'll let you know if KTVU or Fox brings us any more pertinent updates.
What's up,
as the evening
P-Man?
progresses.
Shit. Well, that is, you know, just typical bullshit. I can tell you that. We're going to move on, though. We're going to talk a little bit about this. Senate passes the funding bill to end the shutdown, and then it moves to the House. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. And bam.
Yep. On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended.
Yeah, we already know that
passed.
part. We know that it passed. We already know that part.
Reopen government. We're going to ensure that federal employees, whether they were furloughed or laid off or forced to work without pay, will now receive compensation that they've earned and deserve. And we will also be able to celebrate on Veterans Day tomorrow the fact that we have passed the appropriations bill for the VA. And this—
No kidding, Jaded. I hear you on that. That's why it's really hard for me, because what I only care about is the fucking truth. I don't give a shit about people's opinions and their narrative, their propaganda spin and all that shit. I don't give a shit about none of that. I only give a fuck about the facts.
This would not have come about without the work of so many people, too numerous to mention. But I do want to thank my fellow appropriators, particularly the chairs of the 3 committees, Senator Bozeman, Senator Hoeven, and Senator Mullen, for their hard work. I want to thank our House counterparts, particularly Chairman Cole, who worked night and day with us on getting conference agreements, and our Democratic colleagues who courageously realized that we could not let this shutdown continue to go on with the harmful consequences.
Listen, if you're a shaky old person, that should be your disqualifier from being able to be in any type of like governmental service. You know what I mean? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, this bitch has probably been in Congress for like, you know, the last 47 years, you know.
Going worse with each passing day. So I also want to particularly thank my staff. They literally went without sleep and worked continuously to do all that needed to be done. I want to thank Leader Thune and Leader Barrasso for their hard work and the work of their staff as well. So my list of gratitude could go on, but the hour is getting late. And
oh yeah. By the way, Terrible, just so you know, I don't cater to fucking any side. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. And guess what? If half the country gets disqualified from that, fucking fantastic. See yourself out. You know what I mean?
I do want people to be able to go on.
I'm not trying to please you.
For the night and home, finally. Again, I think this is a great victory for the American people, and it shows that the Senate can work, that we can produce the results that are needed. I want to give a shout out to Senator Katie Britt, who is here this evening. She helped in so many ways with the negotiations. Senator Shaheen, Senator Kaine, Senator Angus King, my colleague, and the rest of the 8 Democrats who are willing to cross party lines for the good of the people of this country. So thank you, Mr. President, for all that has been done. And for
Is she gonna wrap this motherfucker up? God.
A few moments later.
Damn. Jesus. Jaded, hopefully everyone's been enjoying their Veterans Day as well. So far, so good on my end. Absolutely.
Your
Thanks for asking.
Participation.
And by the way, I'm no vet, by the way. I don't want anyone, I don't want that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to take, you know, stolen valor or anything like that. Absolutely not. I'm just trying to show love to all the vets out there.
I yield the floor.
I like how they mute it.
To end the government shutdown. This will then head to the House to adopt the deal. The House reportedly could return as soon as tomorrow to do that. And then this will go to President Trump's desk to be signed. This from Fox News congressional correspondent Chad Perk.
So this is the original vote that happened. I thought that this said it was breaking. It's not fucking breaking if that happened yesterday. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's when we reported on it. It was actually the day before, but nonetheless, whatever. We're going to move on, though. That's enough of that part. We do have an actual update, though. I guess Senator Thune, I guess maybe that's part of the part where he was about to speak or whatever on that video that we just just exited out of. Let's go ahead and see what he says, because it's really, really quick, and then we'll move on into the actual update as of the last 2 hours.
Been a very long road, quite literally the longest shutdown in history. I am very, very happy to be able to say that we are coming to the end. And before we close today, I want to take the time to say thank you to my staff who have worked around the clock tirelessly now for the past 6 weeks.
This guy also speaks really slow.
Staff of the Appropriations Committee who have played a critical role in getting us to where we are here today. To the cloakroom staff, to every Senate staffer on both sides of the aisle who has spent 41 days coming into work without pay.
That's facts, Thomas, by the way. And we got a super chat that we got to read real quick. Give me 2 seconds. We got Provo. Holy shit, he didn't even send a super chat. He sent a super sticker, my man. I very much appreciate you, kind sir. Sending them out, though. I very much appreciate the 5 spot. Definitely goes a long way, bro.
To custodial staff who, again, without pay, have kept this building and the Senate office buildings livable. To all the institutional staff without whom this place would not run. The Secretary of the Senate and everyone in her office, the Sergeant at Arms and her team, and the Architect of the Capitol and his staff. And everyone on the floor right now making this session happen. And to the men and women of the United States Capitol Police who have shown up during the shutdown day in and day out to protect the rest of us. I'm humbled by and grateful for your service. I know that the strain of these weeks has been immense, that you all have families, rent to meet, bills to pay, car and mortgage payments. And I'm grateful for all you have done to keep the Senate running. And for all that you do every day, shutdown or no shutdown, to serve the Senate and to serve our country. And with that, after 6 excruciating weeks, I will stop talking and let all of you get some rest. Mr. President, I yield.
Thank God. You know what I mean? Let's get these motherfuckers shut the fuck up. All right. Senate approves funding bill. House to vote next, as we already know, because we were talking about just that. But this is the latest update as of 2 hours ago.
But right now, we are going to turn our attention to the federal government shutdown. As you know, the Senate did pass legislation on Monday to reopen the government, bringing the longest shutdown in history closer to an end, as a small group of Democrats ratified a deal with Republicans, despite searing criticism from within their party. The 41-day shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which have been on recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on that legislation. And then throughout this morning, we have been asking you at home to submit your questions and what you would like to know about the government funding bill that was just passed. Joining us now to discuss this even further and to answer your questions at home is Karen Holt. She is a political science professor at Virginia Tech. Karen, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I just want to hop right to it, bring up this on the screen. So this is basically the question that we posed to our viewers.
Shit, what's up, Anson? Good morning.
What questions do you have about the government funding bill? And remember that you can still submit questions while we have Karen live on the show here by scanning the QR code there on the top right-hand side of your screen. And so let's get right to it. Okay, Karen, the first question, pretty straightforward. What happens next?
That's a wonderful question. And the simple answer is it's still a mixed bag, because once a bill passes the U.S. Senate, then it goes next to the U.S. House. And so the House has been on recess, as you indicated. Getting those House members back to Washington, D.C. is a next step. And then once they get back to Washington.
Yeah, probably a lot of them are over there fucking on vacation somewhere. You know?
Then they have to decide whether to support the Senate bill or not. I don't think that's necessarily a sure thing.
What's up, Nancy? Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday morning. I definitely know that we all are. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show, and hit the like button, by the way. Definitely helps out the show immensely. And if you're on the vertical side, make sure you guys double tap that screen for the like.
But it seems pretty likely that that will happen, because it looks as though what will happen going forward is that the bill will appear then before the U.S. House, which contains some elements that the House has already passed, but other elements it's not looked at completely. So that will lead to some debate on the House floor. There also will have to be some efforts to take a vote to get a majority in the House to support the legislation. Once that happens, and it's pretty much the same as the Senate bill, then it goes to President Trump for signature.
All right. And so, as I mentioned, this shutdown could,
which we explained that from the second that we talked about it yesterday,
last for a couple more days while all of that really comes into play. Let's get to this next viewer question here. So will the military be paid this week?
Great.
That's a great question, and she don't know.
Question. It looks as though it's hard to know when.
She sounds like she don't know on that question.
Officially, the shutdown is going to end. It could stretch into the people I have talked to that have been furloughed, for example, right now, do not expect to be called back to work until Monday morning. However, the paychecks could start flowing sooner than that. In addition, part of the legislation that passed the Senate includes 3 so-called minibus bills, bills that start funding back. Some of those bills will affect military construction projects and may well be able to allow some members of the military to receive paychecks going toward the end of the week.
And then
she's got a short breath span. You know, when people speak, you can hear when people like are taking a breath, right? You know what I mean? Like, some people just have to like breathe every, between one sentence. It's kind of wild.
I want to piggyback off of that question, Karen, because what makes the military different when it comes to their payments during a government shutdown in comparison to maybe other federal agencies?
Well, one thing that's important is that there are both civilians and military working for the U.S. Department of Defense. Those are classified in 2 different categories. And so the enlisted military as...
What's up, Mr. Mister? He's dropping some shit in the chat. Make sure you guys check it out. Whatever he drops, he definitely knows whatever the fuck he's talking about. You know what I mean? So much love, Mr. Mister. Great to see you in the chat.
As well as military officers and so forth are going to be getting funds on a different basis depending on their rank, where they're located in terms of base and things like that. So the details of military payments are going to vary quite a bit depending on where one is in the rank process and where one is in terms of getting specific paychecks. It looks as though much of that will get sorted out in the coming days, but it's not going to happen automatically for everybody.
All right, Karen, let's turn now to our next question. This one courtesy of Connie H. Does this plan include health care?
It does not, and that's one of the sticking points here, is that one of the reasons that Democrats in the Senate kept holding out for a government shutdown was to get a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies for people that are buying health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. And some of those subsidies that came into place during COVID and afterwards have not been extended. And so what they're really worried
What's up, Joshua? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well.
About is beginning to see sticker shock when the new health insurance premiums come out in December. Now, what will be covered, it looks...
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of you legends dropping in. We got Sterling coming in. We got Are We Not Men in here. We got Fredo. Shit, my man. Great to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. Always appreciate having you in the chat, bro.
Though in this set of bills, at least through January 30th, which there's a continuing resolution to put it in inside Washington language that basically extends the current budget commitments through January. What it does mean is that Medicare money will continue to flow, Medicaid benefits will continue to flow as well. In terms of the healthcare subsidies for people buying healthcare on the markets through the Affordable Care Act, they may well not see immediate reactions in terms of the premiums being covered. What the Democrats did agree to in this bill that's going before the U.S. House is that basically the Democrats in the Senate will be able to schedule a vote on whether to extend those subsidies in December. That's something that...
Real quick, wow, Sterling Wheel dropping a gifted membership. Let's go, bro. Thank you very much. You're not only helping me, but you're helping someone in the Breakfast Club, man. I very much appreciate that.
Could not even get the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Thune, to agree to. They at least have that agreement. But in the meantime, we're on a wait-and-see basis, at least for these healthcare subsidies.
All right, and then I do believe we have one more viewer question. Again, for our viewers at home, if you do want to ask a question while we have Karen live on the show, just scan the QR code there on the top right-hand side of your screen. So Rhonda T says this: how long before SNAP benefits will be available? I know this is a major concern for millions across the country.
It is indeed. And to some extent, unfortunately, we're into how...
You gotta love how this is like one of the big prominent questions. Everyone wants to know when their fucking SNAP gets reloaded.
These programs are actually put in place at the ground level. In some states, those benefits have already been loaded on EBT cards. Now, there was a time in which the Trump administration said, we're going to claw back those monies from the states. But it does seem to me that once the House votes on the Senate bill, then SNAP is funded through next fiscal year, so through next October of 2001. I would look, depending on the state and depending on the program, for those benefits to begin to be loaded very soon. But that's worth checking at the state level to see.
All right, and I do believe we have some more questions that are being submitted. My producer, Julianne, she's working to get those up here on your screen. And for everyone at home, if you are just tuning in, we are asking Karen Holt, who you can see on your screen now. She is a political science professor at Virginia Tech. We're asking her the questions that you have about this government funding bill that was just passed by the Senate last night. Going back to another viewer question with Christina Arnold saying this: will funds be provided to Head Start programs? Many are closed and employees are on furlough.
Yes. Once the government shutdown officially ends, and that means once the House agrees to the Senate bill and President Trump signs it, which he has said he is willing to do, then the funds can start flowing. Now, will that happen immediately? It's going to vary again in terms of what goes on in terms of the links between the federal government and the funds getting down to the state and local level. It varies.
Damn, Prez, you broke a wrist? That totally fucking sucks.
By state and locality
I'm
as
sorry
well.
to hear that.
Some of those Head Start programs are on different kinds of funding levels and commitments. And so some of those have not been closed. In many states, they have been closed. So again, a really frustrating answer for someone who wants an across-the-board answer. That likely is not going to happen. That, too, will vary by area in state as well as state itself.
There are a lot of factors to take into consideration, and it's tough sometimes to get those direct answers, Karen. But
yes,
a lot of people do want those direct answers, and unfortunately, I mean, it's a bit more complicated than just, a yes or no or an exact time. But we have another question here. This is from Anonymous. What will this mean for Medicare and Medicaid patients? Now, you talked a little bit about this, Karen, but go ahead and just recap this for any viewers that may have just joined.
Now, Medicare patients should be being covered as we speak because of the way Medicare works. Now, certainly, if there have been difficulties in getting reimbursements, that's part of the issue right now. And so that, too, once the bill is signed by the president, then that should release most of those funds. Medicaid is a little bit different because it is, and here we are back again into the complicated issues of implementation. Medicaid is a joint federal state program. So Medicaid benefits are going to vary a bit by state. That what will happen with the January 30th extension of the continuing resolution, the federal funds will continue to flow. What's going on at the state level, again, is going to vary with the state in which one is getting Medicaid and what those state regulations are. The work requirements for Medicaid recipients do not officially go into effect once this bill is signed until after January 30th. And so that's something to look forward to in the future. That's what a lot of states are scrambling on right now to try to figure out whether and how those work requirements are going to be filtered into the Medicaid process.
All right, there we go. Just another answer that really focuses on what the state and more of that local government and the impact and the decisions they're going to be making. Paula D here, another viewer. Do the Republicans and Democrats get paid during the shutdown? I have heard this question many times as well.
Elected officials do get paid. The people that are not getting paid are people that...
Isn't that a bitch? The elected officials still continue to get paid. But meanwhile, everybody else, every federal employee, all that shit, fuck them. No, it should be everybody doesn't collect a paycheck. Because I can promise you these guys in Congress, they can go without for 6 weeks. I can promise that they'll be fine.
Work in Congress. And so the members of the congressional staff, people who work for the General Accountability Office, the Congressional Budget Office, and so on, are themselves furloughed right now as well. Most of them, though not all of them, are working without pay. Once the full shutdown bill gets passed and signed by the president, then those funds should start flowing as well.
All right, and my producer just told me we have another question coming in. All right,
They
we're
keep
keeping them
coming,
coming. Keeping them coming, Karen. All right. Will furloughed government employees receive back pay?
That was what I was going to think was going to be a big question, and I was surprised that it hadn't come up yet. So this is a good question.
They will. That apparently is part of the agreement that was struck in the Senate. All federal workers will receive back pay if they were furloughed.
What's up, Gunpowder Nitro? Good morning.
Moreover, some federal workers who were dismissed by the president and the Office of Management and Budget during the shutdown will be hired back. They will not remain off government payrolls altogether. So yes, the plans are right now, if the House agrees, is that back pay will go to all furloughed workers.
All right, and yet we have another question, Karen. This is from George. How will this affect how our government is ran from this point on?
Always a question worth wondering about.
Crazy mountain
Two
woman.
things. I don't think we're out of the woods completely yet. One is in the short run. As many viewers know, there have been massive airport delays across the country. Simply getting House members back to Washington is itself a bit of a lift. In the longer run...
Yeah, I mean, because these motherfuckers are out doing, whatever they want right now. You might have some of these congressmen that are, specifically in the House, they may be out of the country, vacationing and shit.
We still have lots of other deadlines coming forward. Extending the healthcare subsidies is a vote that's being promised to take place in the Senate in December. But even if the Senate does vote on that, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a favorable vote for Democrats. And when it does pass, still has to go through the House and be passed there. So that's another possible barrier in the longer run. In addition, all of the continuing resolution agreements expire in January. So we still have a full range of appropriations bills that need to be considered and passed in...
Thank you for that, Mr. Mister. I'll let you guys know how it goes in the Discord for sure. But after a 3-hour-long conversation with the man, I definitely got to understand a little bit about his ideology, which is very, very in line with me. So it's going to be awesome, man.
Both the Senate and the House. 3 appropriations bills are included in the Senate package. Many others remain to be voted on. What that means then is that this continuing discussion of what the U.S. priorities are, what should be done in terms of government generally, are going to remain on the table. And it'll be something for people to think about and talk about, which is what this is doing is delaying it a bit, opening up communication channels, at least in the Senate, and maybe among the Democrats and Republicans. But that, too, remains to be seen.
All right, Karen, I just wanted to put you up here on the screen as well. As she is answering viewer questions, thank you to everyone who has submitted so far. People are still submitting them, Karen. So if you have time for a couple of more, I'm going to bring...
That's a pretty damn good question, by the way, Rabbit of Chaos. I think a large sum are bikers.
A couple of more here in just a sec. But Karen Holt is a political science professor at Virginia Tech. She has been following the federal government shutdown very closely. Here is another question that we have from Anonymous. Will there be a stimulus check to help financially recover? Now, a lot of these questions are posed with, this being top of mind, just like everything that has been lost over the last 41 days. So, Karen, what's the answer?
Well, another great question. These are all terrific questions. It doesn't look to me as though there's agreement even within the Trump administration about whether to move forward with the stimulus checks. It remains the case.
What's up, James? Good to see you in the chat.
That
you're enjoying your Tuesday morning so far, your topless Taco Tuesday.
Some serious revenue flow problems at both the federal level and, more importantly for most viewers, in many states as well. So where those stimulus checks are going to come from at the national level really is a matter for debate. And that is the kind of thing that is going to be very difficult legally for a president to simply say, I can spend federal dollars that way, since the power of the purse still remains in the Congress.
All right, and then Karen, I do believe we have one more viewer question here. They're all pretty
one more
good,
question.
I think.
Yeah, very good.
Answering a lot of
they have been actually very good questions. That's why I've been allowing it to continue on.
Wondering as well. But we have this one from Christine. It's going to be our final one. Can you explain what it means for low-cost insurance? Thank you.
Well, low-cost insurance is really one of the critical issues here, especially for people that have been looking for individual coverage through the Affordable Care Act. That looks as though it's going to become somewhat more difficult. What the challenge will be then for many purchasers of such insurance is to look as carefully as they can about the options that are available in the markets in which they live.
What's up, Ian? Hopefully you're enjoying your afternoon/early evening. Great to see you.
And that makes this even more difficult. That is one of the concerns about the extent to which those subsidies continue that under the Affordable Care Act, or whether they're canceled or changed and limited in other kinds of ways. So at the moment, it does seem to me it's still worth looking at what the options may be, but those options are likely to change, perhaps somewhat notably, once Congress decides to act or not act in December and then in January.
All right, Karen, and then I do have one question for you before I let you go here. Anything that stood out to you in particular with this latest government shutdown, which has now become the longest running government shutdown in history?
Yep, 40 days was the longest. Previously was what, 36 days or something like that? 35 days? I can't remember the exact, but nonetheless, it was the longest running.
A couple of things very quickly. One is I have been
What's up,
struck
GEG?
by the degree to which there has been such firm and intense framing of this issue as a Democratic Party cave.
What a Mindu?
I see the impulse behind that, but I do think to some extent it may be an overstated view of what's been going on. Some Democrats, those who voted for the Senate compromise and those who chose not to, understand that when a party is in the minority in both the presidency and in the U.S. House and in the U.S. Senate, there are limited numbers of options that a party can forge. The estimation for some Senate Democrats was the two senators from Nevada, for example, have seen a huge, devastating cut to tourism travel to Las Vegas. One can understand why they, representing their constituents, said, you know what, we've got to do something to get the government moving again. At the same time, among the people who started forging this bill were, interestingly, from the New England states that are quite poor, and also in that group of...
Definitely interesting. We got Dragon Classy, by the way. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
8 of 8 senators, 4 are former governors. It seems to me that governors like former Virginia Governor Tim Kaine saw the degree of suffering in their states, particularly in Virginia, particularly in Maine, particularly in New Hampshire, and said, this is about as far as we can go right now without increasing the pain. And so I think then we are at a point at which one has to figure out what we value in terms of priorities as a society. That's not saying one side was right and the other side wrong, but it does underscore how difficult this process is.
Karen Holt, a political science professor at Virginia Tech. We appreciate your time joining us here at Live Now from Vox to answer those viewer questions. And thank you to our viewers for submitting.
All right, so we got something live happening right now at this ceremony. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Vice President Vance is speaking right this second. Let's go ahead and bring this up.
Brief messages. First, to our nation's veterans, thank you. Thank you for serving and sacrificing. We've all got so many good stories of people that we served with over the years. During my 4 years of the Marine Corps, I met the very best of America, people who are willing to put on a uniform and risk their lives for their entire country. Just yesterday morning, I met people who lost limbs, who lost very...
Hey, she... But I didn't lose it in battle. I did it in, in a different street battle kind of thing, you know?
Important family members who lost their psychological health going out there and serving the United States of America. So whether you gave a little bit or whether you gave a lot, every single person who put on the uniform of this nation deserves our gratitude on this day especially, but every day. And so from the Vice President and the entire administration to our nation's veterans, thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for making us proud every single day. The second message is to the nation's political leaders. I happen to believe that the most valuable resource that we have isn't the incredible wealth of natural resources of this country, as amazing as it is. The most important natural resource that we have is that we have hundreds of thousands of young people every single month who sign up to put on the uniform and risk their lives for their fellow citizens. That is a resource we cannot squander. That is a resource we must protect. And so to every elected official who's here today, our obligation, our sacred responsibility to our veterans is to make sure that the American military is the bravest and best fighting force.
So the badges change from once you're a member longer than 3 months or whatever, you get a 3-month badge. And then once you hit 6 months, you get a 6-month badge. Same thing with a year or whatever. So you just got an updated one.
Anywhere in the world, and to make sure that every time we ask our nation's military to go off to war, we give them the training, we give them the resources, and we give them what they need to kick the enemy's rear end and to come back home safely and quickly. That is our obligation to you.
Captain Don, not America first, it's America only. She.
And my third and final message to the American people, I'm asked all the time how to best honor our veterans. And this day in particular gives you an opportunity, and it doesn't have to be difficult and it doesn't have to be complicated. If you find yourself at a restaurant this evening and you see somebody wearing a uniform, buy them a meal if you're able, or buy them a beer. If you see a veteran of our nation's armed forces, if you know somebody in your family, give them a call and say thank you. I heard already this morning from my mother-in-law who sent me a message early California time, and it touched my heart. Just knowing that we have loved ones who recognize our service, who care about it, and who care enough to go out and say thank you. So to the American people, if we want to keep on ensuring that the very best and brightest sign up for our military, the very best way to do it is to make sure that the veterans know that we are grateful to them. And so it's with great pride that I am introducing a man who is proud of our veterans, who fights every single day for the veterans, and who is proud to be the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, President Donald J. Trump.
Shit.
Thank you, JD. Thank you very much to our great Vice President. That was a good decision I made. This morning on these hallowed grounds where generations of American heroes rest in eternal glory, we gather to fulfill the sacred duty of every free man and woman. On Veterans Day, we honor those who have worn the uniform, who have borne the battle, who have stood to watch, and whose ranks have formed the mighty wall of flesh and blood, bravery and devotion that has defended our freedom for 250 years. Today, to every veteran, we love our veterans, we say the words too often left unsaid. Thank you for your service. Thank you very much. And we want to also say thank you for carrying America's fate on your strong, very broad and proud shoulders. Each of you has earned the respect and the gratitude of our entire nation. We love you, we salute you, and we will never forget what you have done to keep America safe, sovereign, and free. Thank you very much. And we're also honored to be joined by a great man. He will go down as a great man someday. Speaker Mike Johnson. Speaker. Wherever you may be, Speaker. We love you, Speaker. There he is, right there. Good. Got a good location. He always gets a good location. And congratulations to you and to John and to everybody on a very big victory. We're opening up our country. Should have never been closed. Should have never been closed. I want to thank Secretary Doug Collins, who's outstanding, just done a fantastic job for the veterans. We have a 92% approval rating. We took that up from 38% from a certain previous administration that we won't mention. Also, Secretary of War, we like the sound of that better than the other. Secretary Pete Hegseth. Pete, thank you very much. Thank you, Pete. Great job. Our great Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Pam, thank you very much. Thank you. Secretary Doug Burgum. Doug, thank you. Thank you very much for being here, Doug. The #1 energy person anywhere in the world, acknowledged. I was amazed that he took the job, and he did it without hesitation. What he gave up, what Doug gave up, what all of them gave up, nobody would ever know. But Secretary Chris Wright, #1 anywhere in the world, acknowledged. And drill, baby, drill, Chris, right? Drill, baby, drill. The energy prices are way down. They're going further. Secretary Linda McMahon, education, moving education back to the states, Linda, right? Getting it back to the states where it belongs. Secretary Lori Chavez DeReamer, thank you, Lori, very much. Director Russ Vogt.
Man, get to it, fucking Trump. Come on, man.
About a matter of seconds. Once
I hate when he's sitting there thanking everybody, and it's like, God damn, get to it.
They got there. They traveled a total of 37 hours, but once they got there, they were very quick. And also to many other very distinguished guests. We have an amazing group of people. I'd like to name every one of you, but I think a lot of people would be upset. It's a little cold. The pages of American history are filled with the tales of titans, icons, innovators, and trailblazers who built this country into the greatest, most ambitious, and most prosperous nation the world has ever seen. And we brought it to new levels. I'll tell you, we were going in the direction for a period of time, but we've never been hotter than we are right now. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. Yet every captain of industry, every pioneer of science, and every star whose brilliance has lit up the lights of Broadway all share one thing in common. They only had the chance to soar because the veterans
Hey, be safe out there, Brother Beezer. Always appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Had the courage to serve. They took care of those people. They took care of all the stars. The stars that you read about wouldn't be here without our veterans. Everything we have, everything our country has achieved has been purchased by the muscle, spine, and steel of the United States military. We owe it all to the fierce and noble men and women of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and the United States Marines. Here's a guy. Our service members, our own words, are the greatest possible tribute to their immortal valor. Shortly before the Battle of Bull Run, Major Sullivan Ballou of Rhode Island became a big name, didn't he? Wrote to his dear wife, Sarah. He said, I know how great a debt we owe to those who went before us, he said. And I'm willing, perfectly willing, darling, to lay down all my joys of this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt. Just 1 week later, Major Ballou did just that. He gave his life to save our country. On the night before he jumped into the dark skies over Normandy on D-Day, Colonel Bull Wolverton knelt with his men in prayer. Dear God, he said, we ask only this, that if we die, we must die, and we as men would die without complaining, without pleading, and safe in the feeling that we have done our best for what we believed was right. We must do what is right. Colonel Wolverton, too, died for us so bravely in battle. Today we remember with overwhelming gratitude the more than 1 million American service members who have made the supreme sacrifice and laid down their lives for the good old USA. Generation after generation, America's warriors have left behind the comforts of home and family to face violence, evil, and death so that our families could know joy, goodness, and peace. We honor them so strongly. Our heroes have lived through unthinkable nightmares so we could live the American dream, and the American dream is coming back again, stronger than ever before, and you'll see that as the next few years evolve. They have volunteered to give their last breaths to...
What's up? I like that name, by the way. Shit, we got For Real with Mike. I like that.
All of us, so that we could breathe free. And today we know without any doubt in our hearts that after 2.5 centuries, America stands tall because America's veterans stood so strong. And soon our country will be stronger than ever before. The American veteran has forged a legacy of gallantry and daring without parallel in human history. In September 2009, Army Captain William Swenson was driving through the Afghan mountains when his convoy was ambushed by over 60 Taliban insurgents. He and his comrades were pinned down for hours without artillery or air support. A fellow soldier was shot in the chest, and Captain Swenson crossed an open field to aid his brother in arms. People said, don't do it, Captain, don't do it. He did it. When the terrorists closed in around them and demanded their surrender, Captain Swenson threw a grenade at the enemy and rallied his men to break their advance. He then carried the wounded soldiers hundreds of yards to a rescue helicopter before charging back 3 times, back and forth, into the fire to save the wounded and bring them home. Even after 7 hours of fighting, he refused to leave any man behind. Retired Lieutenant Colonel William Swenson is here with us in Arlington, and for his actions that day, he proudly wears the Congressional Medal of Honor. Colonel Swenson, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you very much. The ultimate honor. Thank you. Another person who shows the Medal of the American Veteran is Dale Stovall. As an Air Force helicopter pilot in Vietnam, Captain Stovall was assigned to rescue a downed American airman deep in hostile territory. Despite the extreme peril, Captain Stovall took off in his HH-53C helicopter and soon came under intense fire, forcing him to turn back. But the captain refused to abandon his mission. The next day, he willingly plunged back into the danger while taking fire from all directions. He didn't have a chance, he felt, but he said, I got to do it. He rescued the downed American pilot who had been stranded on the ground for 23 days and brought him back home alive, completing the deepest rescue behind enemy.
Real quick, just gotta interrupt shit because he does go on like a motherfucker, you know what I mean?
A few moments later.
Listen, if you guys can do me a humongous favor, I know you guys don't necessarily have to like the craziness around the world, but you guys can like the video for me and my takes and what we do here. I'm actually being really quiet during, because this is live. I figured that I'll try to let him speak as much as possible because I'm trying to cram everything in. We're already 11 minutes over our allotted time. So also make sure you guys stick around. We're also going to be rating our buddy Rob Noor at the end of this. I'm not sure if I'm going to listen to this entire speech, but I very much appreciate you guys.
Lines in the entire Vietnam War. For this and 11 other harrowing rescues, he was a brave guy. Dale received the famous Air Force Cross and the Distinguished Flying Cross and 2 Silver Stars, making him the 4th most combat decorated Air Force Academy grad of all time. He retired as a brigadier general after 31 years of service. General Stovall, you are a legend. Please, thank you. General Stovall. Thank you very much. Thank you. You look good, General. You look, I wish I looked that good. You look good. Thank you very much, General. America's warriors never quit, never surrender. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. That's what we do. We win battles. As you know, today is not only Veterans Day, but it's my proclamation that we are now going to be saying and calling Victory Day for World War I. Victory Day. You know, I was recently at an event and I saw France was celebrating Victory Day, but we didn't. And I saw France was celebrating another Victory Day for World War II. And other countries were celebrating. They were all celebrating. We're the one that won the wars. And I said, from now on, we're going to say Victory Day for World War I and World War II. And we could do for plenty of other wars, but we'll start with those 2. Maybe someday somebody else will add a couple of more because we won a lot of good ones. But when I see other countries celebrating Victory Day, I watched it. I watched UK, I watched Russia. They were celebrating Victory Day, World War II. And I said, we got to have a Victory Day. Nobody even talked about it in our country. But from now on, we're going to be celebrating Victory Day for World War I, for World War II, and frankly, for everything else. Under the Trump administration, we're restoring the pride and the winning spirit of the United States military. That's why we have officially renamed the Department of Defense back to the original name, Department of War. And remember, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything in between, we won everything that came before, and then we brilliantly decided to change the name of this great thing that we all created together, and we became politically correct. We don't like being politically correct, so we're not going to be politically correct anymore. From now on, when we fight a war, we only fight for one reason: to win. We fight to win. But under my leadership, we're also fighting for the great veterans who have always been there for us, and especially...
What's up, Terry? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning.
...when we needed them and needed them most. In 9 months, the Trump administration has cut the backlog of VA benefit claims in half. That's a big achievement, and Doug is going to get it down to zero. During the Biden administration, the backlog exploded like we had never seen before, and I'm going to eliminate 100% of that backlog. We're moving at that pace, and already we've processed more than 3 million backlog claims, the most of any year in the history of the VA. We've added more than 1 million extra service hours across the VA centers, and we've opened 20 new facilities in 13 states, something that people said just not possible to do. We also have brought back VA choice and VA accountability, taken away by the Biden administration, so that when you have to wait online, you go out and you get yourself a doctor. We pay for the doctor if you have to wait. And the other thing is we fired thousands of people who didn't take care of our great veterans. They were sadists, they were sick people, they were thieves, they were everything you want to name, and we got rid of over 9,000 of them. And then when Biden came in, he hired them back, many of them. But we got rid of them. And I think we got rid of them permanently. We replaced them with people who love our veterans, not people who are sick people. We're also confronting the challenge of veterans' homelessness, and earlier this year I signed an order establishing the National Center for Warrior Independence to house up to 6,000 veterans in need, and we will not stop until we have ended the tragedy of homeless veterans once and for all. I'd see in New York where people that came into our country illegally, would be put up in hotels, and veterans would be sitting on the sidewalk outside of that hotel where these other people are put in, and many of the people that came in were put in from prisons. They were murderers. They were drug dealers. They were people that we didn't want in our country. They were staying in hotels, luxury hotels, and our veterans were sitting on the sidewalks watching them go in. I said, that's never going to happen under this administration. I also signed the VA Home Loan Program Reform Act, because no veteran should be kicked out of their home for what they call a late payment. It's not happening. And I'm pleased to report that since January, the veterans' unemployment rate has fallen by more than 26%. That's amazing. Work hard on that.
I would hope that that is true.
And I also want to give a very special thanks to all of the veteran service organizations that work so hard. They're all represented here today. But they work so hard on behalf of our great veterans, and one of the heroes who reminds us of why we fight for those who served in uniform is Army Major and West Point grad Jonathan Turnbull. In 2019, Jonathan was conducting an operation in Syria when a suicide bomber approached and detonated his vest, leaving Jonathan gravely wounded, so badly wounded they thought he had no chance. The injuries were so severe the doctors gave him, everybody, they just looked, they all cried. They knew him, they loved him, and they were just crying. They said, no chance. He was resuscitated 3 separate times and he underwent 22 surgeries, but he refused to give up. He wanted to live. He loved this country. He loved his family. He wanted to live. He was going through hell. I visited Jonathan at Walter Reed in 2020, remembered so well, and today I'm delighted to say that Jonathan is not only alive, he is here with us, back on his feet, and living a great life alongside his beautiful wife, Samantha, and their 3 incredible children. Jonathan, Samantha, please, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Where are you? There he is. There he is. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're a tough guy. You're a tough one. Nobody could have gone through what you went through. He's doing good, isn't he, huh, Samantha? Thank you very much, both. And in conclusion, from the very beginning of our country, our great American flag has always been shielded and protected by a special caste of citizen who has stepped forward to safeguard liberty's cause. When danger came, when duty called, when Almighty God asked, who had the will and the strength to defend the land of the free, each and every American veteran stood up and said, here I am, send me, here I am. They've come from every corner of this nation, from the cornfields of Iowa to the hills and valleys of California, from the steel towns of Pennsylvania to the vast plains of Texas, from the banks of the mighty Mississippi to the 5 boroughs of New York City. With selfless commitment and unyielding conviction, they made themselves America's ramparts and became the shield between our homeland and those who would do us harm with everything they had.
Hey, Jackie, I really appreciate that, by the way. We do this Monday through Friday. By the way, if you guys are new into the chat, we got a lot of live new viewers over here because we're doing the vertical side as well now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We do this Monday through Friday, 10 a.m., and we do it every day, you know, Monday. Well, not every day. We have members only on Saturday, and we're off Sunday.
They did one thing above all else. They put America first. On the decks of destroyers, beneath the thunder of cannon fire, in the cockpits of our beautiful B-2 bombers. Aren't they beautiful now? We respect them so much. What a job they did. That in an instant completely obliterated Iran's nuclear capability, of which we have just ordered, I have to say, many more of the updated versions of that incredible piece of art. They defended the American Republic, dispensed American justice, crushed the enemies of freedom, and vanquished the forces of wickedness and evil. That's what we've been doing. Because of what every veteran has done today, the flame of liberty shines bright. The people of our nation sleep safe. The American dream surges forward, and our magnificent destiny stands more splendid and glorious than ever before. So I want to say thank you once again to every American veteran. You are very, very special people, and always in our heart. And thank you very much, and God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
All right, that is it for the morning, man. I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for making these very shows happen. I can't do it without you guys, so I'm very appreciative of that. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. We're also going to be sending you guys over to my buddy Rob Knorr. Make sure you guys stick around for that raid. Let him know we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid, and he's a great political analyst as well as political commentator. Just go ahead and let him know that we're coming through. So, all right. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Till then, God bless everyone. We'll talk to you guys very soon.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only mortal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.